No.
But I can
just to record your mental
send it.
checklist. So I just got a video running so I can record it. You guys.
Okay. So there's this mental checklist because in a seaplane you don't want to have paper checklist because you need both hands actually, and you have to have a lookout for the traffic. So I have created personally my mental checklist. We're also using it on the commercial part, and I think it's really handy because I just found out what is the most important things to do and what do I always forget, and then I tried to find a wording that you can easily remember. And so when I taxi out, it's called FCAST, and it's you write just FCAST.
Okay.
The F means fuel. Okay, I have really fueled. How much do I have on board? Because if you do many flights, sometimes did I fuel this time or was it last time? Something. So okay, when I taxi out, fuel, most important thing. I have 120 liters on board. Okay, you just do it in your head, yeah. FCAST, the C is cowl flaps, they are open. A is area, so I really have a mental picture. Okay, there's the power line around the corner, the wind is coming from there, there's a boat over there, wave, wind situation, whatever. So I have this mental picture for the departure. S means stick and seat, so I make the rudder, the control check, and also check that the seat is really locked here on the left side.
Stick and see. Yeah. Okay.
On the left side, that you don't go backwards in the takeoff or something. So there's this is make sure that it's really down and locked.
Yeah.
And the T is tank selector. So I check, okay, it's on both.
Okay.
And this is what I do when I taxi out. Really, then I make a run up my stuff, and then
So fuel, cowl flaps, area, seat and stick.
Yeah.
And the T is
Tank selector.
tank selector.
Yeah. This is FCAST. You write it FCAST. And then the TAF is a FCAST. So the next checklist is then before takeoff checklist. It's called TAF power. So T stores T is for time. I wrote down the departure time because I always forget it, and then so write down the departure time, or if you have Skywagon, it locks automatically.
Yeah.
A is ATC. It's important that you always do blind calls also if you're in the wilderness where you're taking off, because a lot of helicopters flying around.
And that's on Unicom.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 5 is the frequency for all Norway, and you just say, okay, Seaplane, Lima November India Kilo Oscar is taking off Ulvik towards whatever eastbound, and then because there's a lot of helicopters and you're out in the wilderness and you don't think about ATC normally, but it's important to do. So this is the A. F is flaps, 2 notches of flaps for takeoff, and then power is just PWR, and the P is for prop. So you really push the prop in and you turn it around to the end because you're getting another 50 RPM out of it. And also the mixture. And then the last thing is WR, it's water rudders. So this is, I always do this checklist because I don't forget anything. So I just do it, check it in my head.
Yeah.
And also if the passenger is talking to you, you can do it silently in your head. And it's important if there's like challenging situations and you're in stress, whatever thing happened, it's always good to follow a checklist and don't do things just okay, I did here and everything is ready. And I see this with most of the people flying, they don't have a checklist really, so they just do a visual check, which is good, but then it's like, okay, mixture rich, okay, I've done everything. So, but this is not good enough, I think. So you really have to have a structure. Yeah. And if you follow the structure every time, I have never forgotten anything. So there was other pilots, they did not set the flaps and upboarded takeoff because they forget it in the stress. Even Christian did it, and if you follow...
So remind me what TAF is?
Time,
ATC, flaps. Okay, and then
prop, which is including also the mixture beside,
and water rudders.
Yeah. And
then, in America, if you take off with your water rudders down, you have to buy everyone beer.
Yeah, it's the same here. It's 2 beers and it's very expensive in Norway. You know? So this is good to follow this, to have some kind of something you can hold on actually. So what I do is first actually I do a visual check. So I check that my altimeter is right and everything is on, and then I do this FCAST checklist when I taxi out, and before takeoff the TAF power checklist. Yeah, I mean for the run up, you know this. Here you have the step button. You can step through the cylinders. And make sure that if before takeoff that the cylinder head temperature on all cylinders is above 200 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Above 200, and then keep it below 400 in the climb.
Yes.
Okay.
and then you take off. After takeoff, you get some speed, set it back to 10, the flaps, make 2525, the climb power, very important, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And then if you have like over 70, you can go to 0 flaps and climb out with around 85 knots. On the altimeter you have miles and knots. Miles is outside, knots is inside.
Yeah,
so make sure you're checking
so
the right.
70 knots. So you keep your flaps until 70 knots.
Yeah, 70, 80 knots, and then you can flap 0.
Okay.
And for the
you
landing,
take off with flaps 20?
yes, always 20.
Yeah.
And then for the landing, for normal landing, you always land with flaps 30. And then you can set flaps 10 outside the wide arc, I think below 100 knots. And then you set flaps 20 and flaps 30 on the final, and you fly around 70 knots, flaps 30 for the landing.
Yeah.
Make sure your carburetor heat is in again, the prop is forward, and then you I don't know how you do the landings, but like dive down to about 1 meter height if you're good with the to assess the flare, and then you set up your landing attitude, keep it, and keep just the rate of descent with the power, and wait until you touch
Just
down.
do his landing with a little bit of power.
Yes, power, and just very important, don't drop the nose. This is the most important thing. Don't drop it, leave it there until you touch down. And also when you touch down, full stick back, because the floats are very heavy and they have a tendency to let the nose down, drop the nose down. And then there's the glassy water landing, and this is done here with the flaps 10 and 60 knots, and you just fly exactly 60 knots, flaps 10, keep the right attitude, and just watch your vertical speed indicator with a 100 to 150 rate of descent. And wait until touchdown. Don't try to flare or anything.
60 knots, flaps 10, 100 to 150 VSI.
That's the glassy
and then
water.
stick back as soon as you feel it touchdown.
And if you're here in Bergen, it's often a lot of waves. So if you have a rough water takeoff, you do it also with flaps 20. And then once you're on the step and the airplane wants to fly, you just put in flaps 30 to get you in the ground effect above the waves, and then back to flaps 20, and then you continue with the normal takeoff. So,
Okay. I've recorded that whole briefing, so I'm going to go and study that briefing as well.
Okay, very good. Very good.
All right. And do you know what I might do? I might also, your FCAST and your TAF power, I might see if I can make up a really small,
we can put it
nicely printed.
Put it in here.
Because they did that in America. They have very, very small. It was CAR, carb heat area check rudders. It was the sort of minimum.
There's a lot of checklists, but I found this one is really good because
that's the thorough one.
It covers the most important points.
Okay.
One thing that also happened to me one time was I did not check the ampere meter, so check that it's above 0, because if there's some loosening, then you end up in the wilderness and the battery is empty. I had this one time that I didn't check it, so make sure that that it's on, and you also have the generator light down here. If something wrong with the generator, it lights up. You always taxi with max 1000 RPM and full stick back. And
okay,
that's it. And for the takeoff, so you pull the stick fully back, full power, then you wait for the first rise, the second rise, and then you half the way back, roundabout. You wait until it gets on the step, and then I put my hand on the trim, and then to trim half a cycle back, and then you really find the sweet spot with the trim. You keep the hand there and have a neutral feeling here, that you don't have a lot of pressure on your hand, and you just take the trim to take it back and find the sweet spot. And when you're on the sweet spot, you're really feeling that you're accelerating, and then you just keep it there waiting, or you can lift one float. When you lift one float, make sure that that you don't go into a turn, just go straight ahead. Is important because that can be dangerous. And then you lift it up with the full aileron, and wait really until you have some bank. You can really go on one float for a long time actually, but it's important to have a little bit of an bank that you, when you do it the other way and lift the other float out, that you don't hit the first float into the water again. Yeah, that's just about the landing. And yeah, then once you touch, full power back, full stick back, and then your water's down, 1000 RPM, and then you're safe again.
Okay.
When you're doing like normal turns, you can use the aileron in the opposite direction, because the down aileron creates more drag than the upper aileron, so you can help a little bit turn around. If you want to go into a downwind and the wind is very strong, it sometimes helps you to not to start straight the turn straight into the wind, so you go a little bit to the right 30 degrees, and then you use this kinetic energy to go through the wind to the left, and always to the left, because it's it turns easier to the left.
The torque.
Yes. Yeah. I think
so. For our first flight, what are we going to go to this island first, or what's the plan?
Yeah.